Hey, what's up guys, DiplexHeated here again. Welcome back to Men of War Assault Squad 2 and Rob's Realism mod. Today we're doing the Battle of Hürtgen Forest. But before we start the battle and go into the details about it, I wanted to thank the mapper Avex for making such an awesome defensive position here. I love these maps, I love a complex defense system, trenches, sandbag positions, you name it, and it's fairly detailed too. So I'd love to see more of this in the future. Hopefully, Avix, you can deliver. We're relying on you, man. This is very good stuff. The map is available over on the Steam Workshop, so it's by no means exclusive to this channel. So go check it out. It's currently only for the editor, but I think this would make a pretty damn cool multiplayer map too, with both teams spawning on opposite sides of this fort. Talking about fort, there's one thing I wanted to talk about before we actually do get into the details of the battle itself, which will be rather quick. The Romans, a Roman legion would set up forts when on campaign and whatnot, and it would protect them against outside attacks. It would have wooden palisades, gates, and towers, and it would house, or it would shield a huge formation of tents on the inside. I've seen plenty of pictures or drawings at least of these Roman fortresses, and it's pretty cool. But they're not just fortresses, they're technically like a ad hoc field fortress, almost like an overnight stay, like a huge hotel for a Roman legion. And in many ways this is similar, but in World War II. You don't want wooden walls, because what will wooden walls do against tanks, artillery, and airplanes? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No. In a ranged situation, when you have guns, you want a clear vision of your surroundings, and preferably as long as possible, like the best view possible. Like, there's some trees around here, which obviously worsens it for the defenders, makes it easier for the attackers to get closer. But in general, they've cut down a lot of trees, and I guess in this Hürtgen forest, this will simply have to do. So you don't want walls, you want trenches and sandbag positions, and you want a clear view. So in many ways, I was just thinking about it, this is definitely like a Roman legionary fortress, but in World War II. What it would look like, in a way, I guess. So really cool. Hopefully we get to see more of these defensive positions like this. You can tell that it's been set up like ad hoc. It's not meant to be permanent. It's not meant to remain here for the rest of the war, surely. There's just you see that there's some leftovers from all the wooden constructions here. There's plenty of sandbags. There's some repair stations and a kitchen. It's not meant to be a military fortress for another 50 years. Obviously not. It's meant to house a company or a battalion, possibly, because this is quite a lot of work, but you catch my drift. So I thought that was really fun. Now, into the battle. Before we get too long, I do not want to sit here and waste everyone's time. There will probably be a hero in the comment section saying the battle starts at 11:37 or something like that. But Battle of Hürtgen Forest, one of the last major German decisive victories of World War II, probably the last. And it was very much forgotten because when the Battle of the Hürtgen Forest ended, which was on 16th of December 1944, the Ardennes offensive immediately began, which was the German counterattack to try and push the Allies back from Germany and out of Belgium. Problem was, it sort of then turned into the Allies' favor, more commonly known as the Battle of the Bulge. So then they counterattacked the German counterattack, the Battle of Bastogne and all that, and later on brought the Germans further back than they originally were. So very much forgotten. It went on from 16th or 19th of September, and lasted until 16th of December and immediately continued into the Ardennes offensive. So the Battle of Hürtgen Forest was a defensive war for the Germans. They were holding a 50 square mile area near the town of Hürtgen, and it was meant to try and the operation or the plan was to simply halt the Allied advance. They had been making a lot of way since Operation Market Garden and obviously the invasion in June, and it was about time to stop them. Although Market Garden was a pushback for the Allies, but you catch my drift. It was a little bit back and forth. But General Feldmarschall Walter Model was credited for the huge success during the Hürtgen Forest. But once again, largely forgotten. No one really considered the Germans victorious at all during the fall of 1944. So this was their time to shine. But once again, immediately overpowered by the huge success of the Allied counteroffensive later on. So this was kind of forgotten. I guess really who draws the last straw or says the last sentence is what will be remembered. The U.S. assault has begun. An armored spearhead is leading the charge, followed up by some U.S. infantry. I believe the tanks are going to form a firing line here by the river to support the infantry crossing the river itself. Panzer IV there on the right side, knocked out. Panther still going. Flak's opening up behind here. I was looking here on the left side. Panzer IV down. Not sure how the U.S. have done so far. That's a Sherman down there on the left side. One seems to be stuck in the river. And the rest are moving up, crossing it with the infantry. We're going to get very close now to the German infantry defending the fortress. So Panzerfausts and... yeah, that's one right there. Will be a hazard to the U.S. tanks crossing the river and getting too close to the infantry itself. Another Sherman down there. The flaks back here are operating at full potential. Fairly safe and far away from the U.S. infantry and most of the fire from it, rather. So, in peace and quiet, they will do most of the work here, supporting the German infantry at the front. That has already been taking lots of casualties. The trenches are starting to fill with blood and bodies. And this frontier sandbag position facing the north is more or less entirely knocked out. There was another Panzerfaust. Yep, good enough to knock out this EZ-8, getting a little too close. I think German infantry will be the key player in the German defense today, that's for sure. Despite there being at least 5 tanks deployed, they're going to be kind of like easy targets for the fast Allied armor, especially the EC-8s. So we'll see how that goes. U.S. troops have now crossed the river entirely. They've actually more or less taken over this frontier defense line. They're trying to secure the bunker, but there's still an MG gunner and an MP40 gunner in here. Damn, that guy just ran in, looked, and then ran out. He's like, yep, there's people in here. I'm going to go back and tell the guys on the other side. There's 2 dudes in there, just so you know. Yeah. MG42 gunner down, but there's still probably a Gruppenführer or something up in here. Actually, it looks to be a Gefreiter based off of his arm patch. I don't know if you guys can see that. But anyway, more U.S. infantry crossing the river. Another platoon has arrived. They're going to set up a base of fire here on the other side of the river and try and sort of slowly but steadily make their way into the German defense trenches here. Doing a lot of damage, definitely killing a lot of German soldiers. And MG42 is what's holding this trench over here, but once he goes, most of this northern defense is more or less knocked out. There are 2 lines over here, though, but that's sort of the north-western side, so I'm not sure how well they're going to do against troops advancing up here to the northeast, where most of the U.S. troops have crossed, or at least tanks. And this is where they've done most of the damage to the German defenses. Have a quad flak back here. Quad flak back here, opening up, almost causing a dangerous situation to the friendly troops in front of it, firing just over their heads. That must be a rather scary situation for the troops in front of him. But I'm sure they'll target with precision to avoid shooting friendlies. More U.S. troops crossing the river. Definitely setting up a base of fire here by this sandbag line. Has the bunker been cleared out yet? Yeah, it's definitely cleared out. You see a pool of blood in there and a couple of bodies. But it's their house now. I was looking here on the left side. Slow, but steady. They can use the terrain to their advantage. There are some ridges and declines and inclines and whatnot, so the German forces won't necessarily be able to hit the Americans on this side of the river, despite them being quite close. Might just be enough, and some of these positions are almost not elevated, but like in a decline, is that what you call it? Or an incline? So they're kind of lower than the other troops, and they won't necessarily have vision of the American soldiers. Looking good, though. The attack is definitely continuing. More and more Allied infantry joining in. Taking lots of that flak fire, though. Like, jeez. That must be a scary advance. I mean, you feel safer on this side of the river than the other, and that's pretty shocking. But I think they've made it. Most of this platoon survived. Oh, one turned into body pieces there. That's rather nasty. Don't look at that. Keep going, guys. Infantry's having a hard time here. I'm telling you that much. They're going to need more armor support. And I'm wondering if the U.S. will plan to attack from a different direction now that this kind of failed. This fort is on the front line, closest to the U.S. positions, so it's been set up to defend like from an attack all around, or a surrounding attack, a 360-degree defense. So the U.S., if they choose to, they can reallocate some assets and potentially attack from one of the two flanks. And it might just do the trick. We'll see what they do. More infantry is going to try and make some progress on this side, but they're being kind of pushed back. None of them have really made it up to the sandbags here. So the fort is still very much German. 4 troops here in a pretty good position. There's even still some troops alive up here, but once again, most of the Germans over here completely knocked out. Center trench doing good. So's the left one, just a few casualties. More U.S. infantry arriving to further the attack. But the half-track and the other, what seems to be like a Puma chassis with an autocannon on it, has been knocked out as well. I'm not sure what the exact model number of this vehicle is, but reminds me a lot of a Puma, minus the 75mm gun on it. So, cool. Knocked out. That's going to be good for the infantry. These tanks, despite their heavy armor and heavy guns, it's only really the machine guns on the tanks that cause a major hazard for the advancing U.S. troops. The lighter vehicles and their autoguns back here are way more perilous to the attackers than the tanks are right now. So that they're knocked out it's pretty good for the infantry. But if the U.S. are going to try and commit more tanks to this fight, then it's not going to be in their favor to have a Panzer IV and a Panther currently active here, a Panzer V Panther to be exact. Love the camo. It's really good. Love the model as well. Even more U.S. infantry coming in, also taking fire all the way back there. It's got to be super scary, I'm telling you, man. They're hustling it. They're trying to get across the river as quickly as possible. They're not stopping. Whoa. Plenty of tank shots back there. What's going on? Oh, the U.S. are attacking from the flank. They're coming in from the western flank here quite heavily, supported by an infantry platoon. They're going to try and break the German defense from this side. Panzer IV active. Panther still alive and kicking. Panzerfausts being used quite severely as well. One hit this Sherman. There comes a shot from a Panzer IV, so it's going to get knocked down. This one in the center was most certainly hit by a Panzerfaust. So that's a good accurate shot at that distance. Very skilled indeed. The fact that it had enough punching power to kind of penetrate and do damage like that is quite impressive, even at that range. Panther still active, Panzer IV still kicking as well. Damn, Panther is taking a lot of fire. I certainly believe the Sherman up here on the flank has the firepower to penetrate and destroy it, but we'll see if it can land an accurate enough shot. The Panther is definitely still active, just the crew inside is probably rather shook up from the set of shells. They're really trying to suppress the crew. Did that one penetrate? Almost looked like it. Fascinating, fascinating indeed. Flak battery still active. still opening up now at the U.S. infantry attacking. That's rather crazy if you ask me. Don't want to come under fire like that. But the U.S. infantry to the north is definitely getting closer. They're starting to clear out the German defensive positions. Some of them are even up here by the wooden barricades. No, I saw that wrong. But they're getting closer, that's for sure. Crap, another attack from the east now. One of these flaks has been completely knocked out, most likely hit by a tank or something. They're going to die quickly. And I mean it. Jeez, look at that. Such a quick and fast assault. Doing so much damage to the defenders. One of the Shermans have been knocked out. Another one is moving up ahead of the EC8. You know, remaining a little bit further back. Taking a lot of flak fire. I'm not sure that's going to do anything to the Sherman itself. There comes a shot from the Panzer IV in the center. Panzerfaust is being fired. Another shot from the Panzer IV. Not enough to knock it out, but I think they've once again shook up the crew inside here. Another one being fired. Quad flank is switching targets. There goes the EC8. The Panzer IV in the center will prevail. How's this Panther doing? Still kicking. Still taking fire from the Sherman back here. They're still in a fight. I'm surprised the Panther hasn't actually returned fire. I want to know what's wrong with this thing. Oh yeah, the entire center chassis is down. It can't do anything. And now it just penetrated, so someone might have died on the inside. Cool. So it's really just the Panzer IV here and the disabled Sherman out back here. That's the remaining armored assets. And I believe most of the tanks here have been knocked out by armored infantry or armored infantry, you can say. Or actually, it's only the U.S. that called some of their rifle squads like armored riflemen or something like that. Or armored infantry. They have like bazookas and whatnot. And these do. So looks like they're going to be pulling back on this side. The attack was not enough to break the German defenses to the eastern side here. The north is still going on, but most of the U.S. infantry is starting to retreat across the river again. And on the western side, the attack entirely came to a halt because the armored was kind of stopped. So it seems like the winners of today is not only the German armored, but most and more importantly, the German infantry and their Panzerfausts. Doing very, very good. Panzer Grenadiers and their Panzerfausts. You definitely want to stay away from that. Some of the tanks got a little too close for comfort, and they were knocked out. But plenty of damage has been done to the defense. Both of these flaks more or less knocked out. One of them completely destroyed, but the crew on the other one dead, but the flak most likely still functioning. This trench has been... This position was killed within seconds of this assault. And the infantry is like staying covered, trying to stay back. They know that if they're going to try and advance closer, they're going to get pushed back. They have no support. And the troops here to the north, I don't know. It's looking a little grim. Anyway, I think it's a pretty good and accurate representation of the Battle of the Hürtgen Forest. I wasn't sure who was going to win this. I've seen various results when playing previously. It all depends on who hits and who doesn't. And one good hit on a tank can turn the entire tide of the battle, which will then secure the health and safety of your other tanks, which will then support your infantry, and it'll kind of win you the battle. So it's very interesting how that goes. Very interesting indeed. Is this... Yeah, this Panther's finally been knocked out now. So the Sherman on this side prevailed. So it's definitely down to the Panzer IV in the center, and then this guy back here, which isn't really able to do anything. So we'll leave it at that. The U.S. assault has been halted, and the Germans have secured a victory here in the Hürtgen Forest. Or at least this battle, but in overall they did. So very happy with the result. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. Hope you thought it was exciting. I certainly did. And wow, it's just been such a disastrous battle for both sides. The center here did not take as many casualties as the front did here. It's been quite a slaughter. Rather insane, to be honest. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon again. Ciao.